As we might have mentioned to you before, the New England Patriots are at the Miami Dolphins tonight here on ESPN at 8 Eastern Time. And we're set at Joe Robbie Stadium with our team of Mike Patrick, Joe Theismann, and Roy Firestone. Mike and Joe join us now for a preview of the game. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Chris. We'll have about 62,000 here tonight at Joe Robbie Stadium. They have not sold out a Miami home game this season. The New England Patriots have really developed a new personality this year. They want to run it, and then they want to run it again. Now, everybody knows the contributions Doug Flutie's made to this team, but Flutie's not the main weapon for New England.
Not when he's running the football. Flutie has added the bootleg, the waggle, the short pass, the I don't know where you're going to find me attitude. But John Stevens has been the guy that's made it happen. He's had 3 100-yard rushing games this year. Everybody's talking about rookies of the year. Well, obviously in the NFC, it looks like it's Keith Jackson from the Philadelphia Eagles. In the AFC, you got to look at John Stevens because he's the guy that's really led this New England attack. With an offense geared toward the rushing game, the arrival of John Stevens could not have come at a more opportune time for New England. Stevens has had an outstanding game the last time these two teams met. There you see the numbers: 25 rushes, 104 yards, averaging 3.9 yards on the year, and he has drawn rave reviews.
I think he's kind of like a Dickerson, a slashing, strong runner where you can't put an arm out to stop him, and he's got enough moves to, to keep you on your heels, just enough to keep you, off balance and maybe miss that tackle. So I give him a lot of respect. He's a good back.
The first day he came to practice, he held out 2-a-day workouts before he signed his contract, before he came into the training camp. And he broke through the line of scrimmage on probably his first or second running play from scrimmage. And Fred Marion, who's a solid tackler on our defense, our free safety, ran up to make contact with him, and John flattened him and kept running.
If you want a contrast in styles, we've got it tonight. As we just talked about, New England wants to run the ball. Miami hasn't been able to run the ball at all. They throw it all the time. And it's been tough for Dan Marino.
It really has. I think that this year is the toughest year that Marino has ever gone through. Not statistically, but I think mentally. This is the first time in his career, actually the second time in a football game that he has entered it, throwing more interceptions than he has touchdown passes. He has 17 interceptions this year, 16 touchdown passes. In 1985, the second game of the season, he had thrown 2 interceptions and no touchdown passes. For him, this football game is not a physical test. This isn't Dan Marino against the New England Patriot defense. This is Dan Marino versus Dan Marino mentally.
And once again, we have a coaching legend, in this case, Don Shula, under pressure.
Well, you think it's Don Shula under pressure, but it's really his football team. Just like all the other coaches, they are in a rebuilding stage.
All right, coming up shortly, Miami and New England from South Florida. Right now, let's go back to Chris.
All right, Mike and Joe, thank you very much. And that game coming along at the end of this hour at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. When we return, we've got plenty more to show you. Afternoon, big wins for the AFC Central. Stay with us.